Alright, YouTube, CNN stepped in it again, once again, proving that they're the most dumb of the legacy media networks. There's a time, like a decade ago, that they were one of the more sane, actually. It was like Fox and MSNBC and all these others were losing it. CNN was kind of, respectable for a while. Now, not even close. This comes on the wake of them suggesting that it was illegal to read WikiLeaks material and that they, as the media, had the right to do so and would report on it fairly to the little peons of the world, which was always a lie on both ends because they don't report fairly and it wasn't illegal to begin with. They're just trying to scare their audience because they're stupid. But now they've done something even more dumb, and they exacted the vengeance of large numbers of gamers by using Fallout 4 footage of terminal hacking to illustrate how Russians hacked, I don't know, either our elections or our electric grid or whatever they're claiming the Russians hacked now. It's like, when I had that stomach bug 2 days ago, I was like, I was going to come out and blame Russia. Oh, shit, the Russians tried to poison me. Anything goes wrong. I stepped on a banana and fell on my ass. Damn Russians with their banana traps and so forth. It's to that point. Everything is being blamed on Russia. Doesn't this seem a little conspicuous to you? It does to me. It sounds a lot like a spy versus spy cartoon from Mad Magazine or something like that. It's the most convoluted thing. It's like WAPO had to retract its story about Burlington Electric being hacked by Russians because it wasn't hacked by Russians. It was malware from looking at porn or something on an employee computer not even connected to the electrical grid. Something that millions of people in this country probably have on their computer because they're looking at porn. Okay, well, that's not evidence of a large-scale breach into our actual security. It's evidence that certain groups like to get ad revenue and they like to put malware on your computer to keep getting it because it strikes a chord over and over on people's computer because a lot of people are too dumb to use proper antivirus or something like that. But it was great because it combines two things that are really great. Fallout, which is a great game series. I like Fallout. I play Fallout 3 still quite a bit. I know the graphics are a little bit backwards for its era of gaming. I understand that. With mods, I'm sure it's a lot better. But at the same time, it's just fun wandering around the wasteland, splattering things, especially ghouls. I never liked the super mutants as much. I always liked the ghouls more, honestly. I thought they were the coolest because they're totally fucked up. They're like zombies, only in some situations you're in a poorly lit area and you don't see them and all of a sudden you hear them making their raspy noises. You're like, oh shit, well, I'm going to die for sure now. It's great fun. Fallout 4 hack terminal footage. They drop it into a story about Russian hacking. That's not how Fallout works. I do believe that you mean American hacking in that sense. The Russians have all been killed for the most part in that game. Russia's been utterly annihilated in the nuclear war. It's fitting that they would use Fallout footage on this story, though. I'll tell you why. Because the way the Democratic Party and the entire U.S. legacy media constantly harangue on Russia, it almost looks like we are back in a Cold War situation where a nuclear attack is suddenly possible again. These people are morons. They're every single day. There hasn't been a day in a long time that they haven't mentioned Russia hacking something, Russia using propaganda on something, Russia doing something evil. There hasn't been a day in a long time that they haven't done it. It's like being back in the 50s or some crazy shit like that. Russia's, you wish that the Soviet Union still existed so you'd actually have a scarier adversary so that you could justify some of your hype. Unfortunately for you, I guess you don't. Oh, you can't blame Russia for absolutely everything anymore. Oh, the power plant melted down. Russian saboteurs. The train derailed. It must have been a Russian put a boulder on the tracks. Oh, there was a shooting over here. It must have been a Russian assassination or something like that. Russia does all sorts of weird things in the world, but that doesn't mean that it's constantly and inevitably trying to hack every single digital system that exists in the Western world. They don't even have the means to do so. It's like the election hacking stuff. CNN misreported on this too. I mean, CNN's the biggest source of fake news in the world at this point. They talk about Russian interference in the elections. Now, The actual intonation of what the government was saying at the time was that Russian was interfering into them by using sock accounts on the internet to convince people to vote for Trump. Which kind of makes sense since Trump wasn't talking about wanting to annihilate Russia and China off the face of the earth, as in he was less of a warmonger than Hillary Clinton. It's funny to see the Democrats become the pro-Cold War party, possibly pro-nuclear war party. I wonder if they've thought this through completely. The hippies they are not, let's face it. But what the media got from that claim was, oh, the Russians hacked the voting machines. And so now if you ask the average Democratic partisan, what did Russia do in our election, most of them will tell you, oh, they hacked the voting machines. They got Trump elected president. They don't properly identify the government claim, which was Russia was using armies of sock accounts to push its political agenda. And they even less frequently identify what I believe is probably the truth, which is the Russians did very little in regards to our election. Most of what you saw as far as Trump support online was organic. It had nothing to do with Russia or any other state actor. It had to do with people that are pissed off at the U.S. government. It's not just the Democrats they're pissed off at. The Clintonians and so forth. They're pissed off at the Bushes and such too. Honestly, I think the Russians would have rather dealt with somebody like Sanders over anybody else, but of course he was doomed from the get-go because of actual rigging in the election that took place in the Democratic primaries. Here's a funny thing that few people even remember. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote in the Democratic primaries against Barack Obama while losing in the actual delegate total back in 2007, 2008, before the election then. And then she complains loud and long, and so do her fans, about losing the popular vote, Trump losing the popular vote in this general election and yet winning in the Electoral College. Well, again, a little bit of hypocrisy from you, I suppose. I wonder why. No, Russia did not hack the election. Russia did not hack our electric grid. No evidence has been offered for any of this. The government's claims must be presumed false until they can actually give us evidence. A DHS posting with a disclaimer at the head of all things, listing IP addresses that could easily be fabricated by any half-assed hacker to begin with, is not evidence of anything. The average person will look at that and say, oh, well, yeah, it's the smoking gun. Half of the people reading it won't even know what they're looking at. They don't know what an IP address is. They're not exactly experts in their field, so to speak. Yeah, I'm sure somebody who works as a Walmart night janitor really knows a lot about Russian hacking. Okay. Yeah, the problem is a lot of people in our government probably, it's not so much that they're corrupt and they're proclaiming this from the rooftops to be corrupt. It's that a lot of these people just don't know. They're assuming that this is evidence. They've been convinced by DHS or some other bureau, oh yeah, we've got evidence of Russian hacking. Here, look at this, it's a Russian web address. That means they did it. Well, not necessarily. When they say, oh, digital fingerprints point to Russia. What digital fingerprints? Really? Oh, well, can we see them? No, you can't. They're classified. Oh, okay, then I guess you've got nothing. That's the problem. CNN helpfully trots out the same official line of the government, the ruling party, the Führer, Barack Obama. I wonder if they'll continue to do that when Trump's president. Oh, probably not. Oh, maybe. Depends on how much he offers to pay them, I suppose. How many corporate and bank kickbacks they get. We'll know based on, by the way, media coverage of Trump, whether he's actually honest or not. If the media, once he's inaugurated, suddenly starts softballing him, or even fawning over him, we can assume he's been compromised. If the media, on the other hand, continues to fight against him, the legacy media, that is, we'll know that he's actually a champion of the American people, because the media is a corporate apparatus. The media lies constantly. The legacy media is the enemy of the people of the United States. They're paid primarily to confuse and lie to us. They're not paid to tell us the truth. They don't go digging for the truth. They haven't conducted journalism in a long time. They don't. WikiLeaks conducts journalism. Project Veritas conducts journalism. A bunch of YouTubers and bloggers conduct journalism. That's where you're getting your real news from. It's almost to the point where Men in Black there predicted the future when they were like, look, what was it, the Inquirer, the Weekly World News or something like that. And the dude's like, oh, well, this is the real news. The rest of it's just nonsense. Yeah, it's pretty much true. Ironically speaking, you're getting more truth now from satirical publications and random people on the internet. Some of these people, you know, they're barely adults. They're reporting on politics or whatever, and they're more accurate than analysts at CNN. Well, that's because the people in the legacy media, they're not paid to be accurate. They're not paid to be truthful. They're paid to prop up a political line. It's invariably globalism. When people say, oh, I give Fox a pass because they're being fair to Trump, that's not the fucking point. It's not the point at all. They're still completely compromised. It's still corporate media. It doesn't matter. They've just decided to cater to the Trump fans and tell you what they want you to hear. That doesn't mean they're not spinning everything into oblivion. They're no more trustworthy than MSNBC or CNN. They're not. The same thing. They're all part of the same corporate apparatus. They take money from the same people. What more do you have to see to understand how corrupt they really are? The same left that says corporations bad, corporations evil, corporations this, that, and the other thing, then goes on to fawn over CNN despite the fact that they post obvious stupidity constantly at this point, and exempt them despite them being a news corporation. They are a business venture that relies upon millionaire backers, that relies upon banks and so forth to continue existing, that relies upon very capitalistic ad schemes as well in many cases. So, you know, what's the point of propping them up? You say you're a leftist, although you're a Starbucks Marxist. You sit there sipping Starbucks and typing away on your Tumblr with your iPhone, and you pretend that you're some, you know, hardcore syndicalist or communist or something like that. Don't make me laugh. Stalin would have thrown you in a gulag. Get out of here with that stupid shit. That's about all. Peace out.